Two college students are shown as the movie starts. Tae were going to take their class. One of the friends was Diana. After the class, she meets her friend named Greg. In the next class, the professor asks Diana to meet me in the museum. But Greg says to her, what is the need to go there? But Diana says to him, I want to have a look at new things there. Afterward, she moves to the museum. She observes, Professor was not present there. She searches out him but of no use. Then she notices a briefcase there. There was a statement, Treasure of Persia on it. She observes a small box inside it. Witnessing it, she tries to open it. Meanwhile, she falls asleep there. Waking up, she finds a placed pin on that box. Pressing that pin, the box is unlocked and there is a red stone in it. Lifting that stone, she rubs it for its shining. What does she observe? She observes a monstrous face in it. But the professor comes there immediately and she is frightened. Professor says to her, don't be afraid. Only butchers are frightened. Tell me, which mistake has been committed by you? She says I have committed nothing. Look inside this box, there is something monstrous. Opening the box, the professor also notices a red stone there. He says while probing it, don't worry. We will soon know about it. Diana tells him, there are also some notes in an unknown language which is not understandable for me. Professor says while seeing these notes, I understand this language. But the professor also surprised because he was unable to unlock this box to this day. He asks Diana, how had you opened it? Diana says I have only pressed a pin. Professor says I am excited that you have made my chores smooth. Let's have dinner in this excitement. But Diana forbids apologizing, it is the late night. The professor is too disappointed with it. Diana leaves. And professor stays there and that giant appears before him. He asks him about Diana. Where has she gone who freed me? Professor is afraid and says, I will never reveal if you are the same giant. As for where she has gone. Giant says, oh. You know who am I. Remember what will you face if you don't reveal. Afterward, she moves towards the professor. Giant says I can help you of any type. Professor responds, no thanks. I don't need your help. After that, the giant becomes aggressive and he is going to take a step. Professor speaks out behind him, stop. Give me a chance. Professor wishes, I want to have the service of two pretty girls. Giant says on it, okay. Your wish has been fulfilled. In the same way, two girls tear Professor up, coming there. Professor had the knowledge about this giant. That it is the same giant who has been released from this red stone. In spite of this, he meets his fate due to his folly. On the other side, Diana is shown with her friend Greg. Diana was visualizing it when the giant was putting the professor to death. Being confused, she leaves from there. Contrarily, the giant is shown who covers his face with professors while taking it off from him. Now he was looking exactly like the professor. And he hides the dead body of the professor in a cabin. Giant leaves, taking that red stone. Coming again into the museum after a time, Diana again does not find anyone there. She takes the box with her while leaving. Coming into the house, she shows that box to her friend Greg. She says it is the same box where I got the red stone. She begins to translate some of the notes there. She tells Greg, this box has been found at a secret place. It was seen for the first time in Persia in 12C. She tells, the stone inside it is made of fire. And the giant was bound in it and I released it. Afterward, she also tells him that I have visualized the death of the professor. Ignoring her, Greg leaves from there. Then, she sits silently. After that giant is shown who had visited Diana's college. And it asks Professor the address of Diana. She apologizes saying, it is against our privacy rules. Giant says to her, I will award you what you demand. In return, just tell me Diana's address. Then she says, fulfill all my dreams. Giant says you can wish only for a thing. Then she wishes, just wrap this place in flames so everyone may live in rest. And that place is inflamed in reality and she also becomes the victim. Meanwhile, Diana was also visualizing it and she starts feeling bad. Knowing about that professor's death, she comes to see. She is again frightened. She also translates the rest of the notes, going to the house. She wanted to get all information about the giant. The next day, that giant comes into the class in the college disguising the ex-professor who was killed before by it. He asks everyone, "Where is Diana?" Then the students tell it, "She is always late." Diana catches the sight of that professor when she is going. Calling her friends, she tells her friend Greg that he is not the professor. It is a giant disguised as a professor. It means, it is wandering here and there with the professor's identity. Diana's friends don't believe it. But Greg says, "Let's trust at once." Diana's female friend trusts her. But her male friend leaves, making fun of them. Afterward, 3 of them are shown in the library, so that they may collect more information about the giant. Then Greg, Diana, and that friend who trusted her move on. At the same time, the giant also reaches there while searching. But Diana and her friend escape from there. Greg stays there and asks furiously, "What do you want?" It says, "I want Diana to wish for 3 things." Greg says, "Are you mad?" Then the giant shows its real form. Greg runs away in fear because of this. Greg reveals to everyone after coming, he is not a professor but exactly a giant. Later, Diana and Greg go to a church. But there was also that giant disguising priest. They escape after being frightened. Giant locks each door, using its magic. Then he comes to Diana and says, "Reveal your wish." She says, "I will not tell, even never." Giant brings another girl from there. It says, "I fulfill her wish, and you may think for so long, taking the time." In fact, that girl wanted to lose her weight, trusting Giant. And Giant fulfills her desire. At the first sight, much blood starts coming from her mouth. And she begins to swerve in pain. Giant says, coming to Diana, "I can relieve her pain if you want. Tell me about your desire." Then Diana requests, "Relieve her pain." It is shown along with it, that girl is dead. Diana and Greg get furious and start shouting at the giant. But Giant again asks the desire of Diana. Diana says, "I wish that Angel Michael may help me from you, coming on the earth." The giant has to fulfill her desire. Then it is observed that light begins to fall on Diana. Seeing it, Greg confronts that light, putting aside Diana. Afterward, the soul of Angel Michael starts dissolving in him. And a great sword appears in his hand. Then he moves to the giant. There is a terrible fight between Michael and the giant. Then Michael knocks the giant out. It means that giant who had fulfilled her desire. After this, Michaela leaves from there, taking Diana. Both come to the stage theater of the college, but Giant again begins chasing him. Diana asks Michael, "Either Greg will return." He says, "Yes. He will exactly come after defeating and sending the giant back." On the other side, the giant comes to Diana's friends and asks about her. It asks her friend, "Where is she?" Then he says, "I know nothing." It asks him, "Have you any desire?" He says furiously, "Leave me." It throws him on the wall violently. And a stuck point on the wall pierces him. And he is fatally injured. He was paining in a bitter way. He requests Giant, "Kindly, relieve my pain, or kill me." And Giant says, "Only Diana can relieve your pain, having this right. Ask her to wish it." She was witnessing it but could not utter a word. So he dies there while swerving in pain. Giant says, "I will end your rest of friend if you don't tell your desire even now." Hearing it, Diana starts crying. Then Michael asks her, "Why are you crying?" He says, "Okay. Can you sacrifice your life in order to save your friends and mending the situation?" Then Michael gives his sword to her. That sword is inflamed as she holds it. And her arm is burned. But Michael cures her arm through his spell. Michael says to her, "You will be able to hold a sword when the time arrives. That you may save your life and bring everything to its form." After this, Diana's friend is shown who runs towards a room. And she is frightened to see her dead friend. Giant also notices and starts chasing her as she comes outside. She hides under the table of the science laboratory. And she calls Diana through adjusted land there. She requests her, "Come here, I need you." Diana says to her, Don't worry, I am just coming. She is telling here, I want to go somewhere else, hiding from that giant. But the giant was hearing her all as she looks upward. It says, oh, your wish is to go somewhere else. Alright. Let's fulfill your desire. It is shown at the same time that her head is going to be bound in the rat trap. Diana is scared as she witnesses her condition, coming there. Giant says while holding her, will you still not tell your desire? But Michael strikes a pointed pipe to the giant behind it. As a result, it is badly injured. Then it brings out that pipe. There is a great fight between both. Then Michael leaves with Diana after cutting one of its hands. But Giant follows both of them after attaching its hand. While running, they reach a roof and a giant was also after them. At this place, the giant also asks Diana about his third and last desire. But Diana says to him, what will be your end if a person died who released you? So I am sacrificing myself. Saying it, she jumps off the building. But the giant saves her immediately. At the same time, Michael hands over his sword to Diana. Time has come, hold it. Diana attacks that giant, using that sword. He is again bound in that stone and both are fallen down from that building. Diana was enough wounded. But Michael cures her with his power, coming there. Then Michael leaves the body of Greg and Greg comes back. Diana also accompanies him after getting healed. Here the movie ends. Thanks.